Is this more like a willful oversight?
On whose end?
It was just so much friction, and it can almost feel like, I guess, as unpleasant as going to the DMV.
Oh, there is a lot of friction.
Oh, yeah.
There's a lot of
Lucky Boys Podcast.
problems. Some of the problems for limited English proficient speakers during COVID, or actually even before COVID happened, is like Chinese Americans, Chinese Americans. We have names in 3 parts,
Right.
and sometimes when we fill it out, our last names become our first names, and our middle name become our last names.
Now, how does that impact the vote? Does the vote actually not count if they can't accurately submit their information?
Well, like so just yesterday I did voter registration, which was the last day for all deaf, because the voter registration deadline for New York is on the 9th. So I had a woman come up to me and she said, "Oh, I got my voter registration card. I registered with you guys, I mean the all deaf table." She goes, "But they misspelled the middle name. So instead of one letter was another letter, letter meaning of the alphabet." She goes, "Oh, I'm not going to be able to vote." So what I did was, you know what, you can still vote. They just have your name wrong, but it's that voter card is still going to match in the poll book, right? Because that's how they did it. So he said, you know, you can still vote. It's just that it's wrong. We can fix it for you. But like Judy said, they get the names mixed up, or they can't read the handwriting. So they're concerned if they can vote now. So I said, I'm pretty sure you can still vote, but we'll put the name change in for you. You know.
Oh, so she got her name changed yesterday.
Well, we put in a form for her, but
Okay.
but we felt that maybe if we put it in too soon, it might cause confusion with the not getting in time for the poll book. So we can put it in maybe after.
Oh, so for me, I actually think the opposite, because
okay.
the deadline is on the 9th. So if you do have a name change, I would suggest submitting it ASAP, because a lot of limited English proficient voters, they don't know how to communicate with the information clerk at the poll site. So what they do is that they take out their ID. That's the first thing they do. They get scared.
You don't need ID.
So they would just give the ID to the poll worker there, and if the ID's name and the name on the poll book doesn't match, they're gonna be like, "Oh, you're trying to be someone else."
Right.
So that would be hard. So I really advise to change the name, and that also happened to my mom.
Oh,
Yeah, instead of Yim, shoot, I'm gonna say her name.
But yeah, I gotta say that's very, very truth. You know, that's truthful, because I did early voting in the primary election, and what happened was, first I went to the wrong polling location, and they told me, okay, well, first I didn't know, and they told me like, "Oh, my name's not registered here." Okay, all right, so where am I registered? Oh, this location. I'm like, okay. So I'm young, okay. I had a free day, so I was able to. It was crosstown, so I trekked crosstown to my polling location. I went there, and they said like, "We don't have your name here." I'm what? I went to the other poll location, and they told me to come here. And if I wasn't proficient in speaking with them in English, they would turn me away.
Right. Or you just give up and say, "Oh, whatever." Throw your hands up and walk away.
Yeah.
Right.
And she basically said like, "Okay, we don't have your name here." And I'm saying like, "I'm registered here." They told me to come from the other polling location. And so I guess there's one registered person who works that kind of shows everyone the ropes.
Oh, that's the poll site coordinator.
The coordinator. And he came by and he said like, "Oh, no, it's okay. Yeah, we can fix this without you having your name here." So he helped me. But if he's like overseeing like 10, 20 people, and he's like over here distracted with another person who has issues too with voting, he's not going to be able to tend to all these people who have issues, and they're not going to wait, right?
Right.
I could wait because I had the free day, but some people can't. You know?
Oh, I have a question for you. So he helped you. Did he give you the actual ballot, or was it in a white envelope?
A white envelope.
Yep, affidavit ballots.
Right.
That's what happens when they cannot find your name on the poll book, or if someone strongly advocates like, "Oh, I'm registered and you can't find me," they're like, "Oh yeah, we'll give you a ballot." For that, I would say it's riskier because they don't open the envelopes until maybe after election day.
Oh, so that won't be counted, or would that be counted?
It will be, except it won't be counted on the day of, And one thing that happened during National Voter Registration Day in Chinatown is that a guy, he filled out an affidavit ballot and he just put the letter D to stand for Democrat in section A of the affidavit, and he checkmarked his Democratic Party on the envelope, but they disqualified his ballot because they didn't understand what D means when they asked for his party.
Right.
And this guy is a Chinese dude.
Right. They wanted
English
the word
proficient.
spelled out instead of the letter, him writing a D.
It has to be
Yeah.
very specific.
Yeah.
Wow.
And then the voter told me, he's like, oh, this is completely shit.
you brought it up. You brought it up.
He was
Good,
like,
good,
oh,
good.
it's discrimination. If it's a Republican, I'm pretty sure they're going to count it. He was really angry. And like you said, he always voted at PS 130 in Chinatown. So he was like, oh, I don't understand how my name is not there.
Is this more like a willful oversight
On whose end?
on the location where they are submitting the vote?
It's a call that the poll site coordinator or people who are working there has to make if they cannot find someone's name in the poll book.
Especially now during COVID. But even before, there was just so much friction. And it can almost feel like, I guess, as unpleasant as going to the DMV.
There is a lot of friction.
Oh, yeah.
There's a lot of...
Yeah.
I've been on a lot of coalition calls during COVID, and everyone is trying to solve problems because the BOE has its own
Problems.
Now, what's the BOE for people? Is it-
Board of Elections
Okay.
in New York City.
Right.
And trust me, I've also worked there as a Chinese translator full time, translating all the materials coming in. And I see how they work, and they do work hard. They stay until midnight. And I'm like, yo, girl, I'm tired, and people are still going. They work really hard for every single
What are
election.
they doing exactly, like late at night? Like just processing the applications, voter registration applications?
That, and they also have to format the ballots. If they receive a complaint that a ballot has too small of a font, they will have to work to enlarge it, and that will have to go through 2 or 3 departments. So they are listening, and they're trying their very best. It's just that maybe sometimes it takes a while to get things done. And I guess for me, I always give them a benefit of the doubt. And I guess I was a younger person working there at the time. I think I was 26 or 27, and I prefer to work somewhere a little faster. That's why I left.
how long have you guys been involved with this?
I started out as a volunteer at AllDef in 2009, and I was still in college. And I wasn't necessarily in the voting rights program, and I applied to be the voting rights coordinator for I think twice, and I didn't get it because I was young. And finally, in 2014, I got hired. So, and then my contract ended in 2015. In 2018, they called me back, and they're like, "Hey, we need you." I was like, "Hey, why not?"
How about you, Shirley?
She's doing a great job. I just started working with AllDef in May of 2019.
Okay.
So I was not involved with the voting thing. I'm the actual events and database coordinator, administrator. I can't even remember my title. But I work in the development, more of the fundraising, maintaining the donor database. But due to COVID, we all started working from home. Everybody was working from home.